Yo, 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 welcome to TWE Charts, guys. All right, AMC, GameStop for the week. That's what pretty much this video is going to be a scenario video on what I think the price is going to do based on the cycle and the patterns that we are tracking. All right, but before I start, remember, y'all got to like this video, man. You got to subscribe if you want to get more of this content. All right. Okay, so AMC is currently in what we refer to as a projector pattern. A projector pattern happens before every major run-up. Now, it also projects downside. So we do have failed projectors. Failed projectors, pretty much they mimic the same thing. It's a reaccumulation pattern, and then they end up falling. They end up failing, coming down. Now, I don't see that happening for AMC. The projections that I have are both bullish, but I want to talk about the speed, how quickly they happen, or how quickly we're expecting them to happen. Also, with the other, the macro accumulation patterns that we tracked before, I want to touch base on these real quick. These are the short-term projections on AMC that we use to reference patterns. And I want to talk about each one and talk about the ones that are probably no longer in play. Reference patterns, guys, give up at some point, right? If the sequence gives up and the volatility zones have been hit, then those patterns are no longer valid to track. So, for example, one of the ones that is currently still tracking is this one because, well, this one is showing us multiple volatility zones that still end up bringing the price up to the levels we talked about. I think this one right here is the best candidate to track right now. And we'll get back to this one here in a bit. But for example, this one on GameStop, it clearly hit, right? It hit the volatility zone and then the price got shut down. So we experienced a inverse effect before we hit the peak. So even though the structure of the pattern and the volatility zone was accurate, we have what we call an inverse POI when we get close to the peak here, so the price started to turn around. But that's okay because that's, again, every pattern in the market, every reference pattern, we can't just track and hope that it hits those targets. That's why we're tracking so many. We're tracking 5 or 6 right now, and I have a few more that I'm going to bring up. But the one that I'm focusing on right now is going to be this one. And this one gives us the series of projectors, right? So we have this right here, comes up, creates a new high, and then comes down and starts riding on the way up. This one I think is very relevant to track because it gives us the cup in the end. The timing here is important, though. So I have 2 scenarios that I think are going to play out here, and both of these have to do with the expiration date, June 21st. You also know that Kitty, right, he has options that expire the 21st for the $20 strike. So between now and then, the price for GameStop at least has to remain above 20 for those contracts to be good for him, right? He doesn't want to be. I mean, he's down right now from the highs that he had before. He's down a little bit, but he's not in the negative yet. So based on all that, it does have to do with the price movement of the stock, GameStop specifically, because he has a lot of contracts in the money, which we can't really speculate on what he's going to be doing with that. He's probably going to be selling them at some point. I'm not sure he has the capital to just exercise the entire batch of calls that he has, but we don't know when, right? We still have to figure that out. So that aside, and just taking a look at the cycle and everything that we know based on this projector, right? Because this is what happens before every major run-up. This classic setup, okay? Here are the 2 projections that I have. So we'll start off with one, and I'll talk a little bit about what everything here means, okay? So this projection here is based on one very important thing. It's a fake out. So we have macro support here from May 10th to the option expiration here at June 21st. Support trend line is only tested twice right now. So this is basically giving us that support trend line. We haven't broken this trend line yet. We're just riding above it. We haven't even retested it yet. So this pattern is basically telling us if we come close to it, I think the likelihood of us experiencing a fake out is pretty great. Why? Because, well, on this pattern here, we also have descending support. Descending support, you can take it from May 16th, it runs down, and it almost creates this broadening wedge, okay? And that's what I think AMC would experience here on this projector. This would be more of a leveled projector. Leveled projectors come down to support, okay? And they do either double bottom or they fake out. In this case, this would be a fake out. Price would break support. It would stop a bunch of traders out, right? Because a lot of people just trade trend lines as well. And that's one of the things that is not the best thing to do with stocks like meme stocks or in the crypto market specifically. There's a lot of trend lines that get broken, resistance and support. So I do think if we got close to it, I think we would experience some kind of a fake out. The price would start to climb back up and then make its way up to the targets we talked about. Now, the second one's a little bit different. It's actually pretty much the opposite in terms of how it goes up. This one has no retest, and this is how I'm going to track it this week. This one's also a lot quicker in the way that it climbs up. Now, if you take a look at the pattern that we pulled up here, this is actually taken from this one. This is going to be the red pattern here. Okay, you can see that this is how the target and projection was made based on the levels that have already been hit and the projector pattern that we're currently in right now, where it just comes up, climbs back down. There's just a lot of volatility that we're experiencing. So with this one, we wouldn't see a retest because it would be too predictable. Again, going back to the whole thing, if somebody just goes, if there's a lot of liquidity being waiting to be bought at these ranges, right? These guys are going to try and avoid that range. And right now that range, well, it's also support. It's going to be 450. If it climbs below that, we would see a 450 retest. We get the third retest, and then the price starts to climb back up. Guys, rarely do I see support or resistance trend lines being respected on the micro charts. You don't really see that happen. If it does break it, again, you either experience a fake out and then it starts climbing back up, or you don't see a retest. It's very common to see that just them, I guess, manipulate the price structure here in that way. I can pull up many scenarios on how that happens, but also I think more of the 3 retests or even 4 retests you see on the macro chart. So anything, on the daily or the monthly chart, you might start to deal with that, because candles, guys, are very important to track here. So that's just my projection. Again, us crossing below that and even lower than the fake out would not be a good sign in the short term, in my opinion. I think we would get into the territory of dragging the cycle out for a little bit. But personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we are going to start moving up here going into next week, which I'm excited for, man. And I also want to pull up some of these projectors, these previous projectors that AMC has had. I think this is a good thing to track for the charts. Now, if you guys want more on the cycle, again, check out the video I just posted on Friday. It talks more about the cycle. This one is just a short-term projection on AMC. Okay, using basic technical analysis, right? On that, we still have to use technical analysis at the end of the day. Just been trying to spot here how these guys manipulate the support and resistance trend lines, and then just overall pattern structure, right? So here is what happened with AMC. If you guys remember, right? We had that July 21st of last year, AMC goes up 100% in the after-hour session. They got shut down, right? Pretty much, we can compare the two, all right? One of the videos I posted also in November, comparing November 2020 to now, was talking about this flag setup here before a volatility zone. It's the same exact thing that AMC did before it climbed 100% in the after hour section, got shut down, traded sideways, and then what happened, guys? Another inverse POI. This was a macro inverse POI, but clearly we see volatility take place shortly after this pump and dump. I personally think that this right here, this volatility event, will be an inverse effect on the current cycle. I think that because the price now is showing us that it's on a curve, at least it's still showing us that it's bullish. It's not flat, it's not coming down. Does not look like this. I think we're going to see the opposite effect, right? We're going to see a bullish positive POI here. And it's just showing you guys a failed projector, right? A failed projector, this one's a lot bigger, falls down here, crosses support, stays below support, and then briefly retests what would be considered a resistance level on the trend line, does not break it, and then starts falling down. Another version of this projector happened in November of 2023. I think this is the one that is probably a little bit more accurate in how the shape of this current projector looks. And I also have a video on this, guys. It's called, it's in the form of a song, if you want to go check it out, Early Days of AMC. But it talks about this was a pink pattern, is the name of that video, pink pattern, TWE charts, and it tells us how this projector works, okay? Same thing right here. I actually have the fractal here overlaid. You can see it. And this one is telling us, right, the price would come down. I agree with the fake out, right? But I don't agree that the price would continue to go lower after the fake out. I feel like this is where the entire fractal would flip and would speed up, because the upside potential is typically a lot quicker than downside when shorts jump in. The algorithm is going to slow things down on the way down with puts, right? We know that to be true, at least with meme stocks, okay? So another projector, guys, that failed here. Now, the one that where everything's taken from, guys, is going to be the projector in May of 2021. It's this guy right here, okay? Now, this is the only one, okay, that we could use for this, but in terms of the levels, right, just because we already experienced a pretty big volatility event, I think we would still come up and respect the levels that we have tracking on the other reference patterns, because there's a little bit more data, and this one right here doesn't show us the complete set, so it's not as relevant to track. I just wanted to show you guys what another projector would look like here. Be right there, okay? So between those, we have ourselves a nice set of patterns here, right? To track, new reference patterns to track for the coming weeks. All right, and this is all pretty much relevant, also being that it is inside AMC's historical charts. So the validity of these patterns are greater. They're better. They are just better, man. All right, guys, so that is going to be it for today's video. I'm going to be updating AMC here throughout the week. Again, if I go live, you guys will know it if you do hit that notification bell. Also, check out the new form of payment through the Discord. Is going to allow you to pay what you want and still join the Discord. So if you want to check that out, click the link below, and I'll see you guys there. All right? All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.